This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And from here on out, 19 of the next 31 are at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Tonight, game number 1, it's the Pittsburgh Pirates and the St. Louis Cardinals. With Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to Cardinals baseball. A few hours ago, the Cardinals, well, they made it official. Take off the interim tag for Mike Shildt. He is now the full-time manager.
Certainly well-deserved. The team is playing terrific baseball under Mike Shildt, and they removed that interim tag. He is now signed to a 2-year contract. The Cardinals playing, Dan, with a lot of energy, and certainly they're winning. The record reflects that, but it's been a fun team to watch.
He's talked about his staff and the players, everybody buying in, and with that, that means the team is winning. The record 26-12 under Mike Shildt. The starters have been outstanding. The pitching as a whole has come together, pitched very well. Runs per game, that's up. Second. Team on base percentage, second. It's all clicking right now for the St. Louis Cardinals. Can they win another series? Guys over in the studio will take a look at that. The Pirates in town, and game 1 is coming up. Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. The Pirates in town. The Cardinals rolling. The salsa's been perfect. And we've got baseball coming up. Start the night for Flaherty. 3 strikeouts for Flaherty here in the bottom of the first. And he struck him out. Swing and a miss. Strikeout number 9. Puig snaps the bat over his knee. He's been fun to watch, and this team has been fun to watch. We're back in St. Louis, and the first of 3 against the Pittsburgh Pirates. Along with Rick Horton and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 90 degrees here in St. Louis. Mike Schilt, the interim tag is now gone, wiped clean. He's the manager of the Cardinals from here on out. Let's hope it's a long, fruitful relationship between Mike and the organization.
He's done a terrific job, and he and the players and the coaches have ensured that the Cardinals will have meaningful baseball games in September. They've been very meaningful in August. The team has been outstanding, 19-5 in the month of August. And again, Mike has been deflecting credit all day long, but he gets the extension. Congratulations to Mike Schilt.
The Cardinals starting play 73-58, now 4.5 games back in the Central. They're atop the wild card. And this young man is emerging into an ace, Jack Flaherty.
Well, he's definitely pitching like an ace, and he's doing that by being consistent every time out. And, you know, he can be dominant in the high strikeouts. And what I like about Flaherty, Dan, the numbers he's had against Milwaukee, the numbers he's had against Pittsburgh in the division, that's just, to me, that's a sign that he's going to be competing as a Cardinal for a long time.
The Cardinals 19-5 in the month of August. Only year they were better in August with 1944. The season numbers for Jack Flaherty getting better and better with each start. Let's take a look at the Hyundai pitch arsenal.
56% fastballs. The slider's devastating. The curveball is used sparingly but effectively. And I'd say the same thing about the changeup. We rarely see one, but often it's a good pitch for him. And when you think Jack Flaherty, you think about fastballs inside. He has an incredible ability to get swings and misses. Nearly 21% whiff rate low batting average, but even lower on the sliders. 170, Dan, with a 47% whiff rate. That's his money pitch. Way better than the league average.
Clint Hurdle and the Pirates going in a different direction. The Cardinals haven't lost a series in August. The Pirates have won only one, and they have only 3 wins in their last 10 games. A lineup for Clint Hurdle's club: Marte, Frazier, and Polanco. Cervelli batting cleanup. The Dickerson, Bell, Moran, Adeiny Echeverria, the former Marlin and Tampa Bay Ray, Ivan Nova, the former Yankee, on the mound batting 9th.
And our key to the game is something we talked about earlier today when Mike Shildt was named the manager. Business as usual. That's what he's been talking about, our Toyota key to the game. And Mike certainly has had a very business-like attitude and a very loose attitude at the same time, but he wants his team to just continue to do what they've been doing, and that's winning baseball, and it's aggressive baseball. And I don't think anything's going to change today because he's now the full-time manager for 2 years to come.
There's Starling Marte at the top of this lineup for Pittsburgh, and the first pitch to him, pulled foul, and we're underway. Mentioned it in the open, a key for the Cardinals. They've been playing much better under Mike Shildt overall, but certainly here at Busch. 31 games remain, 19 of those right here at Busch Stadium. Play well at home, and the Cardinals have a good shot. Here's the 0-1. Marte this season batting .275 with 17 home runs, 58 runs batted in. Actually benched at one point in the last couple of weeks by Clint Hurdle for lack of hustle. This guy can flat out play.
He's always hit the Cardinals well too. This Pirate team made their run in mid to late July. That's when they took off. They were winning every game the way the Cardinals are now.
2-2. Cardinals 19 wins in the month of August. The Pirates 8-15 this month. The 2-2. Went out, made the big deal for Chris Archer, picked up bullpen help, and we were there that night. We thought it might ignite that team, and for whatever reason they haven't taken off from that spot. And a 3-2 pitch by Flaherty. He got him, and a strikeout to start tonight. Around the Horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Tyler O'Neill in left, Bader in center, Martinez in right. Jerko, DeYoung, Greg Garcia at second, Colt Long, by the way, on the DL. Matt Carpenter at first base, Yadier Molina behind the plate. In steps the second baseman, Adam Frazier.
Danny, if you and I threw 20 sliders, just went out tomorrow, came out early, got some mound work in, went out with Mike Maddox out to the bullpen, said, hey, we just want to throw 20 sliders. How many do you think we would hang out of 20?
I know mine would be 20 with a lack of movement.
I'm not sure I could throw 20 without it hurting. but even at my best, Dan, you're going to hang a few. And,
yep.
and I would say that one of the remarkable things about Jack Flaherty is how few sliders he hangs. Now, he does give up his share of home runs because he's around the plate. But when he misses, he's often missing low, which I think is a smart thing to do. If you're going to miss down, let Yachty block it. If you miss up with a bad spinning slider, that's the ball that gets hit.
At this time of year, guys can get a little sloppy because they're worn out, frankly, and guys get underneath that slider and they spin them.
They do, but he's been remarkably consistent.
2-2 the count. And the next two, Adam Frazier puts it in play towards third, gloved by Jerko, 2 away. Tim Timmons behind home plate. Alan Porter at first. Mike Winters, the crew chief, he's at second. And Jansen Visconti is at third base.
I'm not familiar with him, are you?
No.
Maybe he won a contest and he's just the umpire for the day. What do you think?
Sure. Why not? Sometimes I think that's the way it goes anyway.
Now, wait a minute. You don't mean that.
I don't. I think these guys do a great job.
Yeah, and I agree.
And replay shows that. Here's Gregory Polanco, the right fielder.
I think we're so used to yelling at umpires since 1878 in the game of baseball that we're just continuing to do that, even though replay does show that they're remarkably accurate.
At this speed, how quickly these players get down a line or a tag or a throw, and they do a great job for the most part. It doesn't mean I have to agree with everything.
No, of course not.
That's it out of play. First inning ERA for Jack Flaherty. We talk about it. You get off to a good start, especially a young pitcher. In first innings, his ERA is 1.71.
Sounds like he warms up correctly.
And there is something to that, as you well know. Seeing a lot of check swings here in the first inning.
They're almost like pepper swings, like they're playing pepper. They're so defensive. And that's a credit to his stuff. Now the Pirates are doing a little bit of what the Cardinals have been doing more of lately, and that is just putting the ball in play with 2 strikes. So it could just be the 2-strike approach.
He throws that knuckle curve, a slider, and a good fastball that you pointed out moments ago. All adds up to being a pretty good starter. That's what we've got right here. And I was talking about it with Al the other day at Dodger Stadium. He's only 22. That's the amazing thing. 22 years of age. That's pulled foul down the right field line. .22.
There's not a Cardinal fan that wants to start thinking about 2019 right now, but the Cardinals have such a great future ahead because of the young arms. Alex Reyes coming back. Dakota Hudson a full year, presumably as a starter.
Polanco is fouled off 4 straight and hits a soft liner to third, gloved by Jed Jerko. A 1-2-3, top of the first. Nice work by Flaherty. And coming up for the Cardinals, Matt Carpenter at 4 doubles on Sunday. Yadier Molina and Jose Martinez. No score after a half inning. Colorado twice as a pinch hitter, made 1 start at first base. And Carpenter on Sunday with 4 doubles to tie a franchise single game record. He had 3 in the first 3 innings, 2 in the first. Joe Ducky Medwick. August 4th of 1937, the last Cardinal to do that. Carpenter, Molina, and Martinez, followed by O'Neill, DeYoung, then Jerko, Bader, Garcia, and Flaherty. So here's Matt Carpenter, up to 38 doubles, 34 home runs. Pitcher tonight for Pittsburgh, Ivan Nova, the right-handers, 7 and 8. And there's strike one.
Cardinals have seen him a few times. He's made 5 starts, a lot of fastballs, 68%. We look at his Hyundai pitch arsenal, and he's a guy that likes to have 12 to 14 pitch innings. He had a game against the Cardinals here at Busch Stadium in 2017, Dan, if you remember, in April, where he threw a 78 pitch complete game. Now he lost the game 2-1, but he went 8 innings and threw 78 pitches, and that's not something we see very often.
1 ball and 1 strike on Carpenter. Joe Ducky Medwick preferred the nickname Muscles. He was the muscle of the Gas House gang. Said he was a mean sort. So fit right in.
So he preferred Muscles to Ducky.
Yes.
Can't imagine why.
He was in the minor leagues, and apparently a young lady wrote in and said, I really like this Joe Medwick, and the way that he walks, it's like a duck, how he carries himself. And it actually, the nickname was Ducky Wucky. Then it got cut to Ducky, and he didn't like either one, and he preferred Muscles.
But Ducky's better than Ducky Wucky. Let's be real about this.
I would agree with that. Just giving you a little history there. That's off the glove of Bell, and the Cardinals have their first base runner of the night.
Too bad he never had a player's weekend.
I don't think he would have put Ducky on the back.
We'll never know.
And if he would have stitched it on the back of his jersey, he might have punched you.
The diving attempt, he smothers it. Bell's worked on his fielding, and that's not his best asset. He's worked at it. It should be, I have not heard, be ruled a base hit.
But don't you have to know too that you've got a shift on the right side of the infield, and to your right your second baseman's there, so you only have a few steps to range to your right and get back to the bag.
And I would agree. I mean, he may have been thinking the ball wasn't hit very hard, and that shift is playing in shallow right field, and maybe Carpenter can beat that out. That's the kind of the push-pull of that.
Molina on the first pitch pops it foul. The Kubota power stats: Molina against Ivan Nova, good numbers, 6 for 10, home run, a double, is driven in 5, and you see those numbers, you wonder if the Cardinals, even though you have Carpenter at first base, would you think about a hit and run here?
Well, I don't think there's anybody that they're not thinking about hit and running with now. I think that's forced guys to strike out less, to make contact more. I think it's on the table.
And 2 strikes on Molina. That's one of the aspects of many positives that Mike Shildt has brought to the table: aggressive base running and decision making.
It's created defensive pressure, which is pressure that Cardinal fans have seen in the past. They notice it, they love it, and you see the results.
Here's an 0-2, and Carpenter reads it in the dirt, winds up at second base. 1 ball and 2 strikes on a wild pitch by Nova.
Well, the read's so important to this. You got to see it in the dirt and take off immediately. You get the secondary lead, you're already moving, and you see the ball in the dirt and you keep moving. Harrison Bader did that from third base on a ball that was no more than 10 feet away from home plate on the road and scored. And that wasn't even his best trip around the bases.
And a ground ball hit to the right side. This is the kind of baseball that fans in St. Louis, or baseball fans in general, appreciate, and it was missing for some time here. Brings in Jose Martinez after the ground out by Yadier Molina. Around the horn, presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Dickerson, Marte, and Polanco. Moran, Echeverria, Frazier and Bell along the infield. Cervelli is behind the plate, and the infield is drawn in.
Goes back to Mike Schilt telling us the reason he put Yachty in that second spot, or one of them, is he led the majors in productive outs.
How about that? That's production. 2-0 Cardinals. Launched into the bullpen of the Pirates. A laser off the bat of Jose Martinez. Home run number 16.
The pitch is in, and then it's out. Not a bad location, and there are teams that will pitch Jose Martinez in. He's been hitting the ball the other way quite a bit lately, but not that time.
Woo, woo. 2-0 Cardinals here in the bottom of the first, and now Tyler O'Neill.
So the production, Dan, that we talked about, Yachty moves a runner over, creates pressure. And I think when you create pressure, you're not only going to get a manufactured run, sometimes you're going to get the big fly along with it, as we just saw. But the pressure will produce that.
O'Neill is out number 2. Cardinals had 6 first inning runs on Sunday, and now 2 here in this inning.
And I say that, Dan, because I think there are people that love the game of baseball just as I do, but think differently about that. They believe you should never do anything other than try to hit a home run. You do damage. And my point is, you're going to hit some more home runs if you do some small ball along with it, because of the pressure I'm talking about.
He's now driven in 75, month to go, goes on a tear. He might drive in 100. Here's a 1-0. Two and 0 the count on Paul DeJong. 23rd home run allowed by Ivan Novas, so he's given up his fair share. StatCast AI, powered by AWS, gets out in a hurry.
He's talking about StatCast right now, telling him, you know what, I believe that exit velocity was 105.5. I have a feeling that launch angle was somewhere between 24 and 26.
And he included the sponsorship.
Yeah, of course he did.
Hey, Poppy, powered by AWS.
Yep.
That's what he says to me all the time. Danny Mac, Poppy.
That's right.
My friend.
You know, Poppy, that you know what that is. That's a sign of respect. It's kind of like, you know, you're a father. You are to be revered.
Really?
Yes.
I mean, I knew it to an extent. I didn't know how far it goes.
Well, I played on teams in Dominican and Puerto Rico, and there was always a guy on the team that was older, and everybody called him Poppy out of respect. So when Big Poppy was Big Poppy, he was big respect.
Gotcha. And DeJong lifts a fly ball out to left field. Under it, Dickerson makes the catch. The Cardinals strike first in the bottom half of the first. Jose Martinez, one swing. Nova knew it. 2-0 St. Louis. Is with a 2-run homer. We'll visit with Ray Langford coming up in inning number 3, and for the moment we get the chance to visit with Jim Hayes. Jimmy.
Hey, Danny, I can tell you the clubhouse was very pleased with the announcement that the interim tag was being taken off Mike Shilt's title. A lot of the players were saying that's what they were expecting, perhaps a bit earlier than they thought. Harrison Bader told me, I just knew he would be the manager ultimately. Just being around him at AAA, I knew he had something special. Paul DeYoung told me, I'm surprised it happened so soon, but I think he earned it. I look forward to playing him for years to come. And Bader said that Schilt shows confidence in his players, and that helps him. He said he lets you go out and play. Guys aren't looking over their shoulder. Dan, no question, Schilt has had an extremely positive impact on this team.
Cervelli pops to the second baseman, Greg Garcia. Positive effect in so many ways, and that means wins and losses. And he's done a heck of a job. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, the 15 games above 500 and 4.5 games back in the Central. That's where they find themselves. And really, when we talked about late July or even mid-July, where the Cardinals were, I think the thought of catching the Cubs was almost out of the question in everybody's mind. And a wild card was maybe just a hope. And now not only is it a hope, but it's a very good possibility for the Cardinals, especially if they continue to play the way they're playing, finish strong.
Corey Dickerson at the plate, the left fielder, hitting .298. We both had the chance to give a handshake. Congratulations to Mike Schilt down on the field. And here's an 0-1 pitch to Corey. And that's popped up on the infield again. They said, where were you when you got the call from Mo? He said, I was at home reading a book, and all of a sudden he said, I checked my phone at a text message I missed from Mo, a missed call, and he's thinking, uh-oh. And so I said, well, what did you think? He said, uh-oh.
Yeah.
And then he
like
said,
there's a deal, he's got to sign something. Yeah.
You know, he's thinking it's something on Colton Wong or Michael Walker or Adam Wainwright. And first thing Mo said to him, are you sitting down? And he said, well, let me do it. Sat down. He said, we'd like you to be the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. And to dream realized for Mike Schilt, a guy that was coaching and doing clinics. And Mark DeJean, you've heard his name a lot. He oversees a lot of the minor leagues, the coordinator and a coach that will go from city to city. And when he had a job in the minor leagues back in the mid-2000s, he was offered to be a manager. Mark DeJean was at one of the various stops, and he said, I'll take it, I'll accept the role, but you have to have Mike Schilt in uniform with me. He said, if you don't, I will not accept the job. And that began the journey of Mike Schilt in uniform for the Cardinals.
Well, DJ's been around a long time. DJ was coaching back in the early 90s, maybe the late 80s even. My brother played for him, in fact, in the minor leagues, so I know he's been around since the 80s, and just a great baseball man. We talk about George Kissel and Dave Ricketts, as we should, but Mike Schilt was very clear pointing out that Mark DeJean was a impactor for him. I mean, a guy that just taught him the way, gave him confidence as a manager, gave him opportunities like you're speaking of, and he has great respect, great connection with DJ, and he runs the minor leagues right now.
Here's a 1-2 pitch. And Bell, another pop-up. This will be a 9-pitch inning for Jack Flaherty. Coming up, Jerko, Bader, Garcia, 2-0 midway through 2. Jed Jerko on the 6-game road trip hit .500. 4 extra base hits, had that big home run up at Kenley Jansen. Drove in 3 and a high OPS. One of the things that Mike Schilt was asked about in today's press conference, for fans that did not see it, why is the team playing better defense? And he mentioned having stability in the lineup, not shifting guys if they can do that. And Jed Jerko has been a mainstay at third base.
And Carpenter essentially has been a mainstay at first base. We don't see him as much at third or second or anywhere else. And you know, the lineup's been pretty steady too, for the most part. There'll be people maybe move up and down a bit after the 4th spot in the lineup, but most players know where they're playing, where they're hitting, and they've gotten a comfort level. And you could say the same thing about the Cardinals bullpen.
A lot of things happening at the same time. The transfer of the managers, new hitting coaches, and some different players, and it all is added up and worked together. Cardinals right now really a dangerous team when you think about their bullpen and their pitching. They can shorten games because of the arms that they have in their pen, and they're hoping to add a few more before this is all said and done. Adam Wainwright had a successful rehab assignment yesterday, looking more towards the rotation than the bullpen with Adam. That's lined into center, and the catch made. My partner said this is his favorite player of the year.
No question about it. Austin Gomber at the plate. And you figure, what's a lefty on lefty going to do? Well, just a high chopper to second. Well, no play at first. But wait a minute. 2 runs scored. Jerko scored, and right on his heels, literally, was Harrison Bader from second base. I love that play. The highest average speed in the National League. He's on that list. Billy Hamilton, Trey Turner, and Harrison Bader. That's pretty phenomenal.
So look at your GMC leaderboard. Exciting player, great defensive player. There's no questioning that. One ball and 1 strike. I asked the question, who's been the most exciting player in recent Cardinals history you could think of prior to Harrison Bader? And I felt, for a very small sample size, Magneuris Sierra in Miami last year.
Yeah.
But to me, you got to go back to your teammates, and he might beat this one out. Boy, that's a good play down at third. But your teammates, Vince Coleman, Willie McGee, came to mind for me. Yeah,
and then you go back to Luke Brock before that, and just the Cardinals have been blessed to have multiple people that come to mind when you think about exciting players. Now, they're power players, the Mark McGuires of the world, and we're going to get a chance to talk to a guy here shortly that was both a power guy and a speed guy, 5-tool player, and new inductee into the Cardinal Hall of Fame, Ray Langford. He was a special player.
The strike to Greg Garcia. And the 0-1. Nothing in 2. John Mozeliak saying with Jim Hayes on the pregame show that they don't think the severity of the Wong issue is on the scary side, if you will, if you're a Cardinal fan. They want to rest it this time of year and get him back out there as Garcia puts it in play in left center, but a sliding catch. Starling Marte. Cardinal Hall of Famer Ray Langford joins us in the booth when we come back. By the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. From the Hall of Fame ceremony, Ray Lankford getting his jacket from Ozzie and Willie. The celebration a couple of weekends ago, Vince Coleman, Harry Bakeen, his son here, and Ray Lankford, it's his Budweiser bash tonight. And we were talking right before we came on the air that you weren't too nervous about your speech, but I don't believe you.
No, actually I wasn't. Probably the first week or so I was. But the day before, I was more emotional than anything. So
you did a great job.
Thank you.
You really did. Did you hit on everything that you wanted to hit on? Yeah,
I wanted to keep it short because Vince took most all the time. But
did I tell you that was going to happen?
It was great.
You
know, Vince got emotional, and we had this thing about who was going to get emotional. And I was like, Vince will. And we both did.
What made you emotional?
You know, the thing about it is just the foundation from my grandparents and the foundation of the Cardinals organization and all balled up in one, that my grandparents aren't here today, and just knowing that they was looking over me, and it just, I don't know, it just was exciting, and I definitely was humble and was appreciative of everything.
You did a great job.
Well, Ray,
Thank you.
I think that made it special that you just let that emotion come out. You know, that's the real Ray Lankford, and you know, we of course talk about you as a player, five-tool guy, and very deserving of the Hall of Fame. But it's almost like we maybe saw you differently. Do you feel that?
Yeah, because I've always been one of those guys that just talk like going out and play. I was never the emotional type guy, and you know, I just wasn't that guy. But you know, I had over 50 family members here, and to be able to share that with them and the fans, and my teammates with Ozzie and Willie and Vince for a short period of time, and it was unbelievable. I couldn't have wrote a better script.
I thought it was great. At the very end, you said, I will always, and you emphasized this a couple of times, I will always be a St. Louis Cardinal.
You know, I was trying to figure out what I want to say, how I want to say it, but actually that morning, that's when I decided, you know, like, I'm a Cardinal for life. And then when I was on stage, it was like, wow, can I say that one more time? And I did, and it's a great feeling. I knew I was going to be a Cardinal for life the day I was drafted.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I grew up a Dodger fan, but once I was drafted by the Cardinals, the way the organization always went about preparation for their players and the dedication they had towards their players, just don't get any better than that.
So with that dream in mind, you're a Cardinal minor leaguer. You play all your career as a Cardinal. Now you're in that moment, and not only with your former teammates, of which you and I were one for about 3 weeks, I think, and then I was on the way out. You were on the way up. It's all good. But what about the other guys up there? When you're around Gibson and McCarver and Lou Brock, is that kind of make you? How does that make you feel to be up there with those great Cardinals?
Oh, it's a great feeling. You know. One thing is, I was saying, this is my new uniform, the red jacket. But just watching Bob when I was a kid, my grandparents used to talk about him a lot. And I think my first big league camp, Bob Gibson was there, and he gave me, you know how Bob is.
Oh yeah.
He gave me a hard time and said, "Kid, just work hard," and used to mess with me, and it was a great feeling. And that's how Bob was, and be a part of the Cardinals organization, be a part of the Hall of Fame with Ozzie, Bob Gibson, Stan Musial, Lou Brock, and all these guys. They class act guys, and to be a part of that, and I want to represent them well.
How about the crowd how about the crowd we had there that
wow,
night?
It was a great crowd. You know, just sitting there and just watching everybody, watching my family, watching friends and the fans. And, you know, it was so surreal.
Hang with us, will you?
Okay.
Keep that thought, and then think about Darren Dault. We're going to ask you about that too. plays in Cardinals history. John Kruk. Uh-oh, here comes Ray Langford. Bowling over Darren Dalton. That was kind of a defining play for you.
Yeah, but I'm gonna go ahead and admit this. It was bad base running on my part because I thought the ball went to right field, so I just kept running. I just kept running third base, and once I realized it was too late, and all I could think about is, oh, I have to score right here, or I won't hit the end of it. I won't hit the end of it. And it worked out for us.
Wow. And you,
but it was bad base running on my part.
Good players make up for bad mistakes.
Right? Not too bad. You scored. It's okay.
Yeah, we ended up scoring and winning the ball game, but that's actually what happened.
And you were telling us during the break that you and Darren Dalton not became close, but were friendly with each other.
Yeah, we run into each other at a couple golf tournaments, and he would speak, and I would speak to him. Have a great time, but we never talked about the collision at home plate.
Wow.
Ever.
And you played a lot of football too.
Yes, I did. That was my first love.
So you lined him up.
Yeah, I was a running back, so I knew how to lower the shoulder a little bit.
Oh, man.
But once I got drafted by the Cardinals, I was like, see you later, football.
Yeah. Well, you made the right choice.
Yes, I did.
Your body's been, still in shape. And
and I'm feeling good.
Absolutely. It's a base hit to center for Jack Flaherty. Do you watch much baseball? Do you watch the Cardinals specifically, too?
To be honest with you, no, I haven't watched much baseball. Usually I just watch the highlights, ESPN, stuff like that in the mornings, kind of see what's going on. That's kind of my sports time.
But now you're back in the family even more so than you were.
Yeah, now I'm kind of back in it. I'm starting to pay more attention to what the guys are doing now. And a lot of guys that, I don't know a lot of these guys. They all new.
Yeah.
All the guys I knew are gone. Now they coaching like Willie. But you got a lot of young, nice group of ball players, so hopefully it can stick together for a long period of time and do some good things.
When you went down, I thought it was one of the great pieces of video that we had. You and Vince went down before the game after your Hall of Fame speeches, and we're talking to the current group in the clubhouse.
Yes.
Can you tell me any, not to get too private, but maybe some of the things that you guys were talking about with the current players?
Well, just kind of mingle a little bit, just fill the guys out some, and they ask questions. Ask us a few questions. We asked them a few questions. And the funny thing about it, with Carpenter checking his bat, and guys today, wood is so much better than the wood that I was swinging.
Everybody says that.
My wood was terrible.
Really?
Every time I put in an order of bats, the wood comes terrible. So I would have to use a pitcher's bat. I'm sure you had some good bats. So
I think my bats had about 200 hits one year because Willie McGee and I used the same bat. So
and you had two, and he had 198.
I get thicker wood for some reason. And Will would say, "Hey, you're not needing these, are you?" And he was right.
It's just kind of crazy how that works out where the pitcher has the best bats.
Why is that? Come on, Horton.
I have no idea. I have no idea. It was a fact, though.
2-1 pitch to Carpenter, and that's taken low.
But I love the fact that there was that kind of transmission of values and stories and just your presence in the clubhouse, and we're hoping that we'll see you more, Ray. But I think the fans have felt the same way about having you back. So I hope you're planning in the future to be around Busch Stadium more often and maybe around spring training as well.
Oh, most definitely. I haven't been around in a while because you have a lot of guys that's retired and live in Florida, so a lot of us will hang out, get together, do things with the family, travel together and stuff like that with Ken Griffey, Johnny Damon, a bunch of these other guys, and playing a little softball league and to try to stay in shape. So it's good. It's good to be back and see the guys and be back around baseball again.
I had a little birdie tell me that Ray Langford, I guess it was a couple weeks ago, walked on a softball field, and the guy's like, who is this guy? And all of a sudden he goes to the plate and hits one 500 miles.
Yeah.
And they're like, whoa. That's in the left center, and Marte with the catch on the track. Nice play.
Yes, I did.
Is that right?
So he had a pretty good launch angle then. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. I'm playing a softball league on Monday and Tuesday, so it kind of helps me out a little bit.
Can you imagine?
So that way when I go to fantasy camp,
you're ready.
I'm locked in.
Yeah, who is this guy? That's my buddy Ray.
So have you enjoyed the fantasy camp experience?
Oh, it's a great feeling. It's a great, just to be around the guys, a lot of the guys I played with, and just the fans, and just kind of, you laugh all weekend. Just watching guys play and go out there. You have guys take one step and pull a hamstring.
Right. That's when we start laughing, right, Dan?
Yeah, as long as it's not you, right, Ray?
As long as it's not me.
Right.
But It's a great event, and I have a great time just being around the guys again.
Yeah.
You know, and talk about some of the old stories. You know, Danny Cox and yourself.
Yeah.
You know,
I had a nice moment with you. It was nice for me anyway when I felt like, boy, I was hard on Ray when he was a rookie. And I don't know if you remember what you told me. I said, Ray, I apologize. I was kind of tough on you. And your comment was, I appreciated everybody that was willing to be tough on me when I was a rookie because it made me who I am.
Exactly, of course. I looked at it this way. If you talking to me and trying to give me some advice, that means you care. I worried more when guys wasn't talking to me because that means they didn't like me.
Right.
And I think one of the things when I came up, I was fortunate to play with guys like you and Tudor, Tewksbury, and all these guys. We would have a set scouting report, but like Tewksbury would come to me and say, listen, I know the scouting report says, listen, play this guy to pull, but he'll say, but today I want to work him away, so move a little to the opposite way. Pitchers took more control of how they want the defense to play, and that's how it was back then. And you know, and it worked out for me.
You had what, 3 different stints in St. Louis, correct? Was it 3?
2.
I thought you came back for a 3rd time too.
No, it was 2.
Okay, and you come back with Tony.
That wasn't me, it was somebody else. It was 2 stints.
Well, I know Mabes was here 3 different times.
That's what, yeah.
And I was thinking for whatever reason you were here a 3rd time too, but you come back and you play for Tony, and you mentioned him in your Hall of Fame speech.
Yes,
you
I
did play for Tony.
Yes, I did. You know, I think one of the things was Tony was one of those guys, he's always going to be prepared. You know, that's the way he was. And I came up with playing with Joe Torre, guys like that was more laid back. You know, he will always talk to you about how you feeling. He's going to give you this day off. So you got used to a certain type of manager. And when Tony came in, you know, he wanted to win just like everybody else. You know, but at that time, you know, when you're young, you don't understand it. You just think, oh, this guy's picking on you.
Well, the reason I brought it up was because you got to be a good guy to come back to a similar place more than, you know, one time.
Right.
I mean, you got to be a good guy and a good citizen, a good teammate to do that. You must have been that.
Yeah. So, well, when I came back, Tony and I had a conversation. And he asked, was I ready? And I said, yes. And, you know, that was one of the reasons why I came back in 04.
Yeah.
I think the thing is I respect him as a man and as a manager. That's why I wanted to thank him. And when I got inducted, I wanted to, you know, give him a little love, show him a little love, and let him know that I appreciated him as a manager and as a person.
04 was a pretty good team too.
Yes, it was.
Real good team.
Really good team. I hear about it all the time from Johnny Damon.
I bet you do.
All the time, man, and it's not a good feeling.
6-4-3 on the double play. Ray, congratulations.
Thank you.
Red jacket, opening day. You'll be here?
Oh, most definitely.
Congratulations,
awesome.
Thank
you. Well deserved. Ray
pitch here too.
Back home where he belongs, right here in St. Louis. and let's check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, Colton Wong to the 10-day DL with a hamstring strain. Patrick Wisdom recalled. Mike Gersh told me it's a relatively mild strain. He said that Colton should be good right around the 10-day mark or before. Adam Wainwright set for another rehab start for Memphis on Saturday. Waino just threw 4 scoreless for Memphis on Monday. Wainwright had some interesting things to say about the rehab process. He told me earlier today, early on, I was starting to believe my critics that I was done. I was just telling myself to appreciate the fact that I was still pitching. But my stuff got better. Right now my stuff is sharp. I like the way the ball is coming out of my hand, and I'm not done. And Dan, John Mozeliak told me that Waino will have one more start, possibly Saturday for Memphis. That could be his final rehab start, or he could go one more after that. He said they expect Waino to throw up to 90 pitches. Dan?
All right, Jimmy, thank you. What a story that would be for Adam Wainwright to not only come back, but come back and contribute in a pennant race here in St. Louis.
Well, Adam's heart, Dan, will be to not leave any gas in the tank. So whatever he's got, he's going to use to its fullest. And he is not going to give up on the fact that he's going to be a viable pitcher in the big leagues until you tear the uniform off of him. And I don't blame him for that. Because if you don't think you can,
you're done.
You won't.
Yep. Boy, that was fun to hear from Ray Langford. What a player he was. What a great talent. It was kind of a down time in franchise history in terms of winning. But, boy, he was the one thing you look forward to is watching that guy play.
Well, he has a lot to offer. He actually played for Whitey Herzog, too. He actually played for Whitey Herzog,
Joe Torre,
Red Schoendienst, as an interim manager. Joe Torre. I'm assuming he must have played for Mike Jorgensen, too, as an interim manager. And then Tony La Russa. So he spans some really interesting leaders of the Cardinals organization over the years.
And that is rolling foul.
I like the kind of the human kind of uncovering of who Ray is, too, that he talked about being emotional during his speech. Kind of a stoic player. Didn't really play with a bunch of emotions. I mean, you could maybe get a disagreement from the Phillies that day when he ran into Darryl Dalton, but he just didn't play with certainly with a lot of words. And so,
and he said that.
Yeah, so for him to be emotional, and Vince both, I thought that was just, it was a great day for me. I loved being at that event, and glad I had a front row seat, and you did a terrific job with it, Dan, but those guys speaking was just spectacular.
And Vince Coleman mentioned one of his great teammates ever was my partner Rick Horton. For those that did not see it, Ricky was sitting next to his lovely bride in the front row, and that one caught Molina. Ouch. And I guess you're the one that introduced one Vince Coleman to golf, and that bug has never left him. He's a good golfer, too.
Tim Conroy and I took him golfing one day, and he was awful at first, and then kind of okay by the 5th hole, and then better than me by about the 12th.
And you're being serious.
I'm not kidding. Oh, yeah. Yes, he figured it out quickly. No coaching from us, just repetition. Just an unbelievable athlete.
That may have caught the toe of Yadier Molina. You think about a catcher, you've got to get up on your toes. The pressure, the front portion of the foot. And the 1-2 pitch. Lifted in the air to deep left center. Bader back near the wall, and just enough room. Keeping an eye on Yadier Molina, just kind of shaking out the foot. Hopefully he's going to be all right. Enhance your next game day experience. The MLB Ballpark app Access and manage your tickets. Enjoy check-in offers, exclusive content, much more. Download the MLB Ballpark app today.
I suspect Yachty will stay in this game, but Dan, just, you know, we've been around this for a while, and you know these guys, and just wondering between the two of us if we can guess how long that will actually be sore for Yadier Molina, how long he may get treatment on that, and how much that little, not little, but that one hit, how much that will affect him in the next, would you say 3 days, 4 days?
At least.
Yeah. So will Long have forgotten about that little foul tip when Yachty's still feeling it?
Can't begin to tell you the countless players that we visit with and say it's not even close. In terms of players I played with or against, he's the toughest baseball player I've ever been around. John Mozeliak is one to say that. He's been around the organization for over 20 years.
I'd throw in the mental part of that as well as the physical.
I mean, you could see with his head down right there, he's in pain a little bit right now. And he went down on his right knee to maybe take pressure. See, just like that. You take a little pressure by doing that, by going down to one knee.
So, again, I'm not making excuses. This is reality here. So 3 days from now, when the Cardinals are playing the Reds and he has trouble getting down the line on a ground ball to the shortstop, remember that play, because that may still be bothering him. And if someone would say, well, then he shouldn't play, my answer is I'll take 80% of Yadier Molina over 100% of anybody else.
1 ball and 1 strike on Gregory Polanco. But so far, Jack Flaherty, Ricky, has been outstanding.
He has such composure, doesn't he? A lot of strikes from Flaherty.
And a swing and a miss. Yachty slow to get up, limp towards the Cardinal dugout. Cardinals have a 2-run homer hit by Jose Martinez. He's coming up. This season, 420. First pitch tonight that he saw made it 2-0 Cardinals. Our Nissan drive of the game.
I love the extension of Jose Martinez. I was talking with Mark Budaska about him during batting practice today, and he said, you know, he's really good at hitting the ball the other way, but I want to see him drive the ball more. Well, apparently that message was received pretty quickly.
Home run number 16. He has now driven in 75. John Mozeliak at the press conference was asked if George Greer, Mark Budaska, coaching staff would be coming back, and He said while they have not formally invited them back, I would think it's a foregone conclusion. If Mike Shildt would like him back, it's his ship, so to speak, that they certainly would be welcome back with open arms. That would be my guess. And you can't argue with the success of this combination of the Zen-like approach of Mark Buddha. If you get my drift, the Buddha,
Yep.
you get it, Ricky?
Oh,
okay.
I get it.
Okay.
Zen, Buddha, I get it.
Yeah, and
What
George
are you
Greer.
going to do with Greer?
Just a real smart guy.
Okay. Thought maybe you had something up your sleeve.
I did not. There's a base hit into center field.
Mark Budaska told me that he has been around Jose Martinez since he was 18 years old in Venezuela, coaching there. He says, I've known him his whole life. I asked him also about Jose's speed, because we talk about that. Jose, Cafe will tell us, hey, I could run, and we've heard that. But when I asked Buddha about him, he said, oh, no, he was as fast as anybody. I mean, he was not just fast. He was lightning fast on the, and you can imagine with his frame what that could have been as a 5-tool player potentially.
Tall, lanky.
Oh my goodness.
Go get the ball in the outfield, first to third, running.
And just injuries have cut that short.
And it makes me think then how he's changed his approach at the plate. You don't have speed, you got to be a guy that drives the ball.
Right. Well, he said there have been times in his minor league career, baseball players call them punch and Judy hitters. They're just singles hitters. He said he was a 6'6" singles hitter for a lot of his minor league career. Just kind of content with just get a single. And he always felt watching him there was more power there. Kind of right on that one too.
Oh yeah. Here's a 1-1. That's what I was talking with Matt Carpenter. I said, when did you think you might be a guy that could hit 25, 30 home runs? He said, after I talked to Mark Budaska. Got to AAA, and Budaska said, yeah, we love the doubles, but you're a 20, 25 guy, home run guy once you get to the big leagues. Well, he's done that. O'Neill, a drive into deep left, at the track, at the wall, a long one, 2-run shot, 4-0 Cardinals. It's another rookie making some noise here at Busch. I don't like to give you a lot of credit, Ricky, but you didn't verbalize it, but you did show me O'Neill's going deep. You called it.
I had big fly on my mind, and fortunately so did he. There's a pitch middle in, 92. After the pitch before that, I thought the way he took the pitch and the way Nova threw it, that he better not throw the next one. That was a long one by O'Neill. He's fun to watch. He hits some towering home runs, doesn't he?
He sure does. By the way, I do love giving you credit.
I know you do.
But I like giving you trouble more. So 4-0.
I take the good with the bad.
I got you. To your point, and I make the call sometimes this way, he hits him as high as he does far. And he hit that really high and really far over the bullpen and left. 436 feet. 0-2 pitch. A check swing and a strikeout of DeYoung as the ball gets away. And DeYoung is out, did not run. Fox Sports Midwest and the mission continues, teaming up for a service project on September 15th, and you can help. Join military veterans at the Missouri Division of Youth Services for projects that will improve youth homes and activity areas. For details and to volunteer, visit missioncontinues.org. 4th home run in the last 5 games for Tyler O'Neill. I have an idea for tomorrow's telecast if you're up for it.
Can I hear it before I say yes or no to that question?
What do you say we get a yeah, sure.
Okay.
What do you say we either get Uncle Charlie up here in the booth or throw a headset on him tomorrow?
Yes.
Should we do it?
Yes.
See how he's doing?
If I knew you were going to have that good idea, I wouldn't have even waited to hear it first.
We can talk a little bit about his fantasy football draft coming up, what he's doing off the field. That'll be on Friday, I believe, and see how he's feeling on the mound. Always fun to visit with Adam Wainwright.
Well, last time on the mound, the 4 innings, as we talked about, scoreless innings at the AAA level. I'm sure he's just feeling great today, like he's on the right trajectory to have an impact here. And, you know, I've been thinking about, Dan, the Cardinals. It's way too early to do this, but it's never too early to start thinking about it. And I believe John Mozeliak and Michael Gersh and Mike Schilt have to start thinking about it now. You project towards what a roster would be like if you get into a playoff scenario and who the 4 starters would be. That is a very difficult thing to figure out. If you think about the number of arms the Cardinals have and will have on September 1st with the call-ups, I mean, there's some tough choices to be made if we get to that point, even about who will start, who will relieve. But they're good choices.
I'll give you even a tougher decision they have coming up in the immediate, which is Memphis has clinched, and so they're headed to the playoffs. And talking with John Mozeliak the other day, it's a fine line between taking players,
right?
Yeah, that are in postseason play down there and those that can help you up here. Now, one thing that you have to have, you would think, as rosters expand, is a third catcher. I mean, that's all but given. You have to carry that third catcher. There'd be no reason why you wouldn't. And so you got to think about that.
But do you delay until September 3rd or 4th? And what about Ponce de Leon, who deserves to be here anyway?
He could pitch this weekend potentially for the Cardinals. Here's a 1-1 pitch to Bader.
So who Stubby Clapp wants and who the Cardinals want may intersect. But Stubby's happy to tell guys to go up, though. I mean, he gets it, and he has been so good at helping to prepare players the last couple of years.
I've got to think that other major league teams have taken notice.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to get interviewed, if not have a job in the big leagues next year.
May very well be.
I said this earlier today, and I know there was some of the national writers in particular saying, well, why would you extend Mike Schilt right now? You know, keep the pressure on him, keep the pressure on the team, maybe do a little bit more research on what could unfold. What if Mike Schilt hit the open market? You know, what if he's not locked up here? I'm just curious, I'm thinking out loud. Would other teams be interested? There's an infield hit for Bader. No throw.
And the only reason it wasn't a double is that Jerko was on first.
Now you get a little ahead of yourself.
Okay. Hey, don't put it past him.
I don't. After watching him score from second base. Am I on the right page?
Well,
on that,
I think that's part of it, but I think, you know, the writers aren't really thinking about it from a player's point of view. And that's my big point is you don't want your manager to be a lame duck. And you're playing games that matter. You're going into September. You're pulling together. And yet you're wondering as you go towards the end of the season whether your guy's going to be around or not next year. And you know, it just makes his leadership harder as a lame duck anything. And people know that in business. If once somebody's gone in business, they might as well go. Because if they stay around, then it's too complex for everybody else to figure out authority, etc. So give him the authority, give him the responsibility, and I think it is perfectly timed from the player's point of view.
BP brighter picture, most consecutive Series 1 in Cardinals history. That's 10 with the 09 and 44 clubs. Cardinals 9 and counting. They have won against, and think about some of these teams: Cubs, Rockies, a Pirates team at the time hot, Marlins, Royals, Nationals, Brewers, Dodgers, Rockies. 22 and 7. There's a ground ball slowly hit to the right side, and they will get Bader at second base. So runners at the corners now. And the batter will be Jack Flaherty. You know, we are privy to having the chance to visit with Mike Schilt. That's our jobs. Be the conduit between the fans and the players and management. Try to explain what's going on. in terms of dealing with people, and I mean on every walk of life here at the ballpark, Mike Shildt has been nothing short of astounding in that regard. And bringing people together, an organization together, his team together, the ushers. I mean, you name it, this guy has got respect for everybody.
Well, he gets respect and he shows respect. I mean, I love the conversations we have with him where we're thinking, well, why would you leave Gomber in, or why didn't you bring a lefty in against? Why didn't you bring Chasen Shreve in there in that particular situation? And he has a reason, and he says, you know what, I did think about that, and I think he values the conversation because, as he says, that he's a baseball guy, and that's what he tells us. Look, so the discussion is part of what baseball guys do. You get 4 pitching coaches in a room, they're all not going to agree on whether or not the guy's a starter or reliever or should be throwing a curveball or a slider, but you're not enemies, for goodness sakes. You're talking through baseball, what you see.
He has had the backing and the input 100% of the third base coach, and believe us, that's a big deal inside that clubhouse. And I would think the fan base too, with number 11's behind you and believes in you and wants you to get the job. That's a stamp of approval right there. 3-1 on Jack Flaherty with Carpenter at the on-deck circle. He wouldn't walk him with Carpenter on deck, would he?
He shouldn't. If I'm Jack, I'd take a pitch. Not because he won't throw a strike with this one, because he might not throw a strike with the next one. Make him throw 2 over the plate.
Here's a 3-1 pitch. Inside, and the bases are loaded. And the man coming up at the plate is about as good as anybody. Career numbers with the bases loaded. And that's going to be it. They're going to go to the bullpen. Steven Brault just got up, so not a lot of time to get loose as this inning is unfolded quickly for Clint Hurdle. So the base is loaded. Matt Carpenter coming to the plate when we come back. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Barnes Jewish Hospital and Washington University Physicians, national leaders in medicine, and by Toyota. Let's go places. Steven Brault with 2 outs and the bases loaded, and he's in to face Matt Carpenter. Chevy called to the pen. He has made some starts. This will be his 34th appearance. ERA is under 5. Tough spot to be in if you're Steven Brault. Chance for Carpenter to really bust this wide open.
There's the numbers you were talking about with the bases loaded.
Wow.
523 average.
Strike one. Hitless against this lefty Stephen Broll. 0 for 5, couple of strikeouts. Shift on the right side, the 0-1. First time since May 8th that Ivan Nova hasn't gone 4 innings or more. So the Cardinals knock him out. It's game 1 of a series, and they're already in the bullpen of the Pirates. Nice play to keep that in front. 2 balls and a strike.
Dan Nova had only had 27 walks coming into this game, and he ends up walking the pitcher. So an indication that he just wasn't right today. And they need some work from this left-hander. Get into a bullpen early, and that could mess up a bullpen for the rest of the series.
Carpenter hits it sharply, and this will do it. Strand the bases loaded, but they get a 2-run homer from Tyler O'Neill. 4-0 after 4. Bautista. There's a look at the Arby's game summary. 4-0 Cardinals. Pair of 2-run homers. Jose Martinez in the first, and moments ago Tyler O'Neill with home run number 7. Jack Flaherty has just gotten to the mound. He was on base, so starting his warm-up tosses. I want to point out a member of our crew, if you haven't picked up the latest edition of the Cardinals Game Day magazine, wonderful feature done with our good friend Tony West, who's been doing this for nearly 3 decades. We talk about him with some of the remarkable camera shots that he gets, not only here at the ballpark, downtown, across the state. You may find him at a Little League game on an off night, just trying to get that one shot of a Little Leaguer to add to our telecast. And there's Tony, and you can find out all about Tony and his great work with us for so many years. And as good as he is, believe us, he's a better person.
Oh, we love Tony. If you want a little hint, go to page 16 of the latest edition of the Cardinals magazine. My cool Cardinals job featuring Tony West, and great picture of Tony, and he's given us so many great shots over the years, and we absolutely love T. West.
Tony's so talented that he also edits as well as shooting with his camera. The Safe Side of the Fence is a documentary that he's put together. Remarkable documentary that has been featured throughout movie theaters in the country. If you get a chance, read up about it, and you'll find a guy that did this all on his own, no financing, and has helped out so many families that suffered years ago. The Safe Side of the Fence.
So well done.
It is awesome. Tony West.
In the Cardinals magazine, you can also get up-to-date information on Bake McBride, who we should have mentioned a couple of innings ago as one of the great, exciting Cardinal players on the base paths. He may have been as fast as anybody. I'd like to see him and Vince Coleman in a race right now.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Francisco Cervelli, and a foul ball. Cervelli popped out first time up. A lot of pop outs in this game. Flaherty has struck out 4 on the night. Two balls have left the infield. Only 52 pitches thus far. Very efficient. And the 1-2 pitch. Only 11 balls of his 52 pitches tonight. And a base hit into left, just over DeYoung. And the first hit tonight for Pittsburgh. Crowd recognizing that.
Yeah, DeYoung 6'5", he makes this play. And he certainly gave the effort. The crowd appreciates the effort of Jack Flaherty. And he's got some more work to do.
Brings in Corey Dickerson.
Think Marty Marion catches that ball? Wasn't he 6'4", 5"?
He was taller. I don't know if he was that tall for that era.
Huh.
Dickerson popped out first time up. Third baseman Jerko even with the bag off the line, and a double play ball. Garcia, DeYoung to Carpenter. 4-6-3 on the double play. On the run, teaming up with the Cardinals to bring fans $6 tickets. Cardinals host the Pirates tonight through the 30th. And $6 on the run tickets can be yours at cardinals.com/6. Marty Marion was 6'2".
But he was a tall shortstop.
For that time.
For that
sure.
time.
Even now, too. 6'2". Josh Bell popped out to short first time up.
And for those of you scoring at home, Paul DeYoung is 6 feet even.
Cal Ripken, one of the taller shortstops to start that trend.
And one of the tallest second basemen.
High Pockets Kelly. We didn't think we'd get that in tonight. But why not? You love High Pockets Kelly.
I don't know why that tickles me. It just does.
Cal Ripken 6'4", and Mike Schilt talking today about his history in baseball, and so thankful to so many to get him to this spot. That's ripped down into the right field corner. Mike was shining shoes at Double-A for the Baltimore Orioles, their organization. Mom worked in that organization, administrative assistant. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are awfully proud in Charlotte tonight of Mike Schilt.
No question about it. The ball's raked into the corner. So important, the double play just prior. And as you think about Mike Shilt's past, which includes being a scout, includes being a minor league manager at the lowest level, all those things will go into the way he manages here at the big leagues, the way he deals with the clubhouse guys, because he was one.
Exactly.
The way he deals and talks to the scouts, because he was one. I just think that is going to make him more complete as far as having empathy for everybody that it takes to put on a baseball game every night. Certainly players are 99% of it, but there are a lot of support people around it, and Mike, I think, will be attuned to that.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Colin Moran. Up the middle and under the glove of DeYoung. Here's Bader. His throw to the plate. Offline. The throw to second. It's in time, and the tag is there. The run scores. And the Pirates do get on the board. That makes it 4-1 midway through 5. And younger entering with a ticket take home their very own Cardinals Bear, presented by Build a Bear Workshop, cardinals.com/promotions. Cardinals have Molina, Martinez, and O'Neill. Michael Wacha pitching tonight, rehab assignment. More on that. Let's check in with Jim.
Yeah, it was his third rehab start working with Springfield tonight. Michael came out of the game after 2 1/3 throwing 52 pitches. Dan, the Cardinals say he was taken out with fatigue. He will be evaluated tomorrow. Hopefully the news is not bad for Michael Wacha.
Cardinals were hoping another rehab assignment or two and potentially insert him into the rotation. And the 0-1. Nothing in 2.
Fatigue, a bit of a general word. I saw that as well in the Cardinal release. And you wonder, is that arm fatigue? Is that body fatigue? Is that, what is that? The 52 pitches in 2 innings is a lot of pitches. It was not having success as well.
That's a base hit. Down into the left field corner. Molina, who's hobbling on his way to second base and standing up with a double. And for those of you that just joined us, he took a foul ball off his left foot, front portion of his foot. You could see him. This was uncomfortable running to second base.
It was an awkward, different kind of swing for Yachty, and it hurts. And, he knows he's got to get there. And we talked about that being a lingering pain, maybe a bone bruise, who knows what it'll be, but it'll be a bruise, it'll be sore. He'll feel it. He may have trouble sleeping, but he's out there at second base with a double.
Jose Martinez with 2 hits, 2 runs scored tonight.
Talk about tough.
And I would imagine he'll be back in there tomorrow. Here's a 1-0. Jose Martinez, before he became an everyday player, the Cardinals loved him off the bench, and in particular against left-handed pitching. The 2-0, 2-1.
Brault's working on 3 days rest, Dan, from working 4 innings in a game that went 15 innings against Milwaukee. Came in relief late in that game.
2-1 to center. Ball knuckling.
Whoa.
And the catch is made by Marte. That took a right turn for Marte to his left, but man, was that knuckling.
I don't know if you could tell by his reaction that was not an easy play, and I don't know that we're going to accurately track just what this ball does, but it goes from left to right. You can see it a little bit, but the knuckle makes it like a knuckleball pitching. There's no spin on the ball because you hit it so solid, and all the ball does is kind of go with the variance of the wind pockets and the air, etc. That's why a knuckleball will move the way it does without the spin to kind of keep it true. And Marte's fortunate to catch that ball.
Now, we both described it as knuckling, and I wonder, Jim Edmonds was talking about it over the weekend, how sometimes you can hit a ball off the end of the bat and it puts the spin of what would be a pitch, like a slider or a cutter. And he said all of a sudden the ball just takes off with that spin. Either way, tough play. One ball and 1 strike. Tyler O'Neill, a 2-run homer back in inning number 4. The BJC Healthcare difference maker, and he knew it. Here's a 1-1. By the way, that's now 353 career doubles for the Cardinals catcher Yadier Molina. He passes Red Schoendienst into sole possession, 7th place Cardinals history in doubles. Two and two.
Can't tell you how many times in the last 4 weeks I've thought about Red and how much he would have enjoyed watching this Cardinal team.
Agreed. A 2-2 pitch to Tyler O'Neill, and now Brault steps off the mound. Sinkfield Cup was completed yesterday, another major event for St. Louis. Top 10 players in the world competed. There's a strikeout. Rex also making a major contribution to St. Louis University and Sinkfield Cup. For those that play chess, it is a huge event. We've got it right here in St. Louis. We also had the Bommarito 500, the PGA, and so congratulations to Rex and his crew for another job well done.
We've got to find out who won. Got a chance to meet many of the top players in the world through Rex, and they are some, well, present company excluded, some of the smartest people I've ever met. Because of course you're on that list, Dan.
I love playing chess too. That doesn't mean I'm any good at it, but I do enjoy it.
I just want to know whether Caruana or Magnus Carlsen won. I'm looking it up.
Here's a 0-1. But in that world, it does bring a lot of attention to St. Louis, so that's always a good thing. 2 outs, runner at second base. That's Molina. 0-2 the count. elevated with the fastball, and DeYoung strikes out. The statue of the great Red Schoendienst as we head to a timeout. By T-Mobile, and tonight's starter Jack Flaherty, again very sharp from the onset.
Well, the slider is the real equalizer for him, and he stayed out of the middle of the plate for the most part. Did give up 3 hits last inning, and the double play certainly helped him. But Flaherty doing what he does, giving his team a chance to win, and 1 run in 5 innings. I'll take that every start.
Adeiny Echeverria leads it off. Jordy Mercer was dealing with a calf issue, did work out prior to tonight's game, and they could see him off the DL tomorrow. 4-1 our score here in the top of the 6th. Steven Brault at the on-deck circle, so he will hit for himself, and then the top of the lineup.
You and I have both loved Echeverria even before we even knew how to pronounce his name.
I think that's a shot at me, by the way, but go ahead.
I was going to keep that between us, but if you want to share it, it's okay.
I couldn't say it for a while in spring training, and I just had to write it out. And I'm not going to say it the wrong way that I was saying, because I'll start doing it again.
That's right. That's what happened. Echeverria.
I just called. Then I started saying this guy could really field.
That's right. But and we didn't like him not because his name was. We didn't like him for that reason, but we liked him because the guy can flat out field. 2-time finalist for the Gold Glove at shortstop. I don't know how he hasn't won a Gold Glove. I just like what he does defensively.
There's a 1-2. And he strikes out here. So Flaherty was strikeout number 5. Concert held over the weekend. I had a chance to visit with Bill Finley, who's the head groundskeeper. He looked to be like he was walking dazed and in a maze. He looked pretty tired.
Yeah, I bet he did.
Some hot days here, and replacing the grass in right, a portion of it, and in center where the stage is. And I didn't know this until recently, and there's where the stage was. And I know a lot of fans are curious about the arch being cut into the grass. You have to get special permission from MLB. And so that's why you have not seen that cut into the grass as DeYoung makes the play, and that's out number 2. And the idea is that with a ground ball, if it gets into the certain cuts of the arch, it could snake differently and throw off a fielder coming in, an outfielder charging the ball, hits the arch in the grass and could snake a different way, and that's why it's not done.
That makes sense. But if anybody wants to put an arch in their own lawn,
go for it.
In the backyard, you do not need MLB's permission.
Nope, Rick will be over. And it's all yours. So 2 outs and nobody on.
Grass disclaimer not necessary.
However, would you help somebody that wants the arch in their front lawn? You're there.
I'm there. No, I'm not there.
I was just going to say your Twitter handle and where to.
No, I'm glad. Get my cell phone.
where to contact Rick.
People do talk about that a lot with us around St. Louis. They really do.
I get asked all the time about the arch cut in the grass here.
People love it.
Which began in the All-Star game of 2009. Periodically, the Cardinals have added cut into the outfield grass. 2-1 pitch to Marte.
It'd be a nice supportive rally cry in the month of September if fans would just start doing that in their lawns throughout our viewing area, which obviously is beyond St. Louis, just the Midwest and beyond. Support the Cardinals. Put an arch in your grass.
Yeah, I'm all behind it.
Call Danny.
However, my grass is going to stay the way it is. However, Rick, yours, go for it.
I might.
4-1. And it's Miles Michaelis. Trevor Williams will go for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Michaelis for the Cardinals. Michaelis was 1 out away from qualifying for a victory at Coors Field over the weekend. Cardinals jumped out to a 7-0 lead, and all of a sudden 7-5. Michaelis then lifted in the game, but to the bigger point, they won the ball game. And right now this bullpen is developing into being one of the better pens in all of baseball. 1 to Jed Jerko. Ground ball slowly hit to Adeiny Echeverria.
You got it.
We had an argument on a golf course spring training.
Yes.
You kept on saying it's Echeverria. No, Echeverria. No, Echeverria. So then we found out it's Adeiny Echeverria. But then we were doing games and I would just say really good glove band, great range, has pretty good speed at the plate.
You were almost willing to go to him and just ask him to pronounce his name differently so you could be right.
I was hoping. I pride myself on trying to get those names right.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Here's a 1-0 pitch to Botter. And he looks at a ball outside, and Harry Botter has done a nice job here recently for the Cardinals. Oh, Harrison Bader.
At least we don't have to say Sokolovich anymore.
That was a tough one, too.
Well, it was tough because he told us to say it one way and he changed his mind.
Well, this is what I like when you go to a player and you would say you went to Miguel.
He said Sokolovich.
And then you'd say it that way, and I'd say, well, I'm being told to say it a different way. I don't care. Say it any way you want. And I said, no, I want to say it right.
Right.
These are the very tough problems that we have up here in the broadcast booth. Really big issues.
Well, Mrs. Echeverria, if she's watching, wants us to get it right.
And that's my point, is that you have family and friends.
Yes, of course.
Want to see it done right.
Can you get that one?
I got that one down. Debatable, but I think so.
Watch out.
That one caught him, and Bader hit by the pitch.
I think it's a good time for the Cardinals to get a bit of an answer here, too, to that run that Flaherty gave up in the 5th inning. That's one thing the Cardinals have done a good job of, Dan, is adding on. And when the other team scores, you start pushing back away from them again. That's happened countless times during the winning streak. And I think right about now is a good time to do that. The speed of Bader may impact that. We'll see if Brault gives him the best move.
A lot of people are sending me messages on Twitter that they would love to see you mow their lawn.
Uh-huh.
Here's an 0-1 pitch. Bader at first base. Bader hit for the 7th time. That's 6th among rookies in the National League. Blowing away, and it's 2 balls and 1 strike. Steven Brault slowly changing into a carp in front of our eyes.
Hit and run count, by the way.
He's got the tattoos, and more and more starting to rise on the arm. Here's a 3-1 pitch. Hit the other way. They were playing in and left, and the catch is made. You can join us for Purina's Better Together Pet Adoption Day at the ballpark August 30th. Head to Ford Plaza prior to the game. Meet adoptable furry friends. Belleville Area Humane Society. Tickets at Cardinals.com. Here's Jack Flaherty. Mentioned over the weekend, I have a couple of rescue dogs at my household.
That's terrific.
And I think maybe you should pony up, take one home.
We already have a horse. Did you say pony up?
I did. I have a 3-legged dog. Do you know that?
I did know that.
I really do.
I know.
That's Junior, and he was saved by my son after Junior had been apparently hit by a vehicle, malnourished. So my son said, "We got to take him home, Dad." I said, "Well, of course we do." And we saved him.
Outstanding.
And so we have Junior, our three-legged dog that will never leave my side or my son's because we saved his life. And it might have been the fact that we picked up some fast food on the way home and fed him in the front seat too. He'd love that.
People are finding out about the other side of both Ray Langford today in the interview and of Dan McLaughlin.
That's right. That's line foul. Now, you don't normally see a three-legged dog, but come over to my house and you got him, and he'll might lick you to death. He is one happy fellow. He'd probably bite you though. And the 1-2 is a called third strike. Really, he understands people quite well.
Down, Junior.
Fans 21 and over, 8th Stein in the championship series, highlighting the Cardinals' 1982 World Series championship against the Brewers. Tickets at cardinals.com/promotions.
Flaherty has been outstanding here, and you talk about the inside fastballs. As we mentioned earlier, the opponent's batting average of 123. The BABIP, that's batting average of balls in play, even lower as you take out the strikeouts to that 091. And the line drive rate, that's what I like. I really like looking at that. Only 11% of the fastballs in are hit on the line. That means he's getting weak contact. He's getting just ground balls or pop outs, and he's had a number of those today. And his ability to pitch in as a young player is astounding. A lot of times people don't like to go in. They think if they go in, they'll make mistakes or they'll hit guys. But his control, Danny, has been so good in his first full season in the big leagues. He seems like he's an older pitcher to me instead of just a 22-year-old.
It's pretty darn good.
Great story about him communicating with Bob Gibson when he was here for the Cardinals Hall of Fame ceremony, and Gibson giving him his phone number saying, "Call me anytime," and the fact that Gibson loves watching him pitch. I mean, Bob Gibson tells you he likes watching you pitch. How does that make you feel?
I was on the bus that took us from the area that we were dropped off in, or at least picked up in, I should say, before going over to the Cardinal Hall of Fame, and I was in that with Bob, and And Bob and I have forged a relationship doing, a lot of different special events around the ballpark, around town, community events and whatnot. So, and he's just a treat. I mean, I love the man. And he said, I'll tell you what. He said, that Flaherty, I like him. I said, what do you like about him? Nasty. Pitches inside. He said, he's got a pretty good idea what he's doing.
And Bob didn't need to see the numbers we just showed to be able to know that he pitches inside well. Bob can just see it. But talk about the comparison between these two. Their age, earned run average, first 26 starts. Flaherty with more strikeouts, less walks, and lower opponent's batting average. Gibson kind of took off from there, I must say. When you start thinking about the 1.12 ERA that we've been celebrating this year, that was in 1968, one of the most phenomenal feats, or one of the most phenomenal years, I should say, in baseball history.
The 2-2 and a grounder backhanded by Garcia, off balance throw for the out. That's one now. I'm not sure it ever gets matched. 1.12.
I think it's right up there with DiMaggio hitting in all those games in a row, 56 games in a row. It's up there with Ruth hitting. What he hit one year, 57 home runs, when the rest of the league hit about that many. I mean, that was crazy good season for Ruth. But Gibson's 1.12 ERA against, at that time there were some Hall of Famers playing in the game, some great hitters. Mays, Clemente, to name a couple.
Well, they talk about the 60s being the golden age of the game. And Bob would be matched up. They go out west. It's either Drysdale, Koufax, Juan Marichal. Coming in, Martinez. And there's 2 away. You still can't get over the fact that I have my 3-legged dog. He's awesome.
When I come over to see, I'm going to watch out for Junior.
Just watch where you step if you're in my backyard. So 2 outs and Cervelli. Last 5 starts, including tonight, 1.13 ERA for Flaherty. And Cervelli didn't like that call. 2 outs here in the top of the 7th. Pitch count only at 79, so gets an out here. Looking at Jack Flaherty in the 8th, maybe even the 9th. He has been in command all night long. 80 pitches, 60 have been strikes.
70% is spectacular, and he's above that.
(14 of 22 first pitch strikes tonight. Always important too. And the 2-1. 2-2.
About the sink of this pitch. So he's got a couple of different fastballs. Look at that sink. That's a hard sinker at 91. He's got the 94 up in the zone. That's the 2-seamer down in the zone. That's not a changeup. That's just a good sinking fastball. That's tough to hit.
And the 2-2. Jammed him. Past Garcia into center field.
Time to find an ATM? Again? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
Right now, Jack Flaherty has faced 2 over the minimum. 2 out hit by Cervelli brings in Corey Dickerson. 4-1 our score. Carlos Martinez throwing in the Cardinal pen. Asking Mike Shildt the other day how comfortable he is right now with Martinez going back to back. And he said,
no problem.
Yeah, we feel okay with that. That could be a real weapon here in the final month. And a swing and a miss. One ball and one strike.
That's part of the extra options I was talking about the Cardinals have going into September. And, you know, maybe we'll see Brebbia again, and we'll see Ponce de Leon again for sure. And, I mean, there's going to be multiple options. And hopefully Mike Myers will just be on the DL for the 10 days and work out the shoulder fatigue that he's dealing with. It didn't seem to be a serious situation. And, you know, he's been valuable in the bullpen. So there's a lot of moving parts that Mike Shildt can work with. And, you know, I do say that the success of Shildt and Mike Maddox and what they've done in the last few weeks, you know, it has to be added what John Mozeliak did to fix that, the Cardinal bullpen.
No doubt. 2-1 pitch. And while a lot of credit is going Mike Shildt's way, and rightfully so.
And it should, exactly.
But he mentioned it, you know, it's the players. And you got to have the horses.
And he understands they were 7-7 his first 14 games. And that's the day that the bullpen changed. And when the bullpen changed and Dakota Hudson became a stopper in the middle of the 6th and 7th inning and everybody else slid into their position, it's the first time the bullpen has been set since day one of spring training.
And the 3-1 pitch now to Dickerson. Stepping on the bag, Carpenter on a fair ball. Was holding the runner and comes up with that grounder. Time to stretch here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Nice play by Carpenter to his left. Steps on the bag and the out. It's brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Ford, going further so you can. Top of the lineup due up for St. Louis. 4-1 our score. A pair of 2-run homers. And this is the Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Carpenter came up with the bases loaded to face Brault. Grounded out. Takes a breaking pitch low and away. And we're underway in the home half of the 7th. Our friend Wade Forrester is a huge Cardinal fan. Has been going back through every start of Bob Gibson's career, or excuse me, 1968. This date, he got his 19th win, his 11th shutout, and it dropped his ERA to .03 in late August. Thank you, Wade, for doing all that work, researching articles. It's really fun. So we celebrate the 50th anniversary of 1.12.
Brault has done a nice job of quieting things down for the Cardinals since facing Carpenter. Now second time through the lineup. He has 3 strikeouts for the first 9 batters he's faced. He's only given up a hit, and he's kept his team in this game. It's just a 3-run game, and it looks like we may see Jordan Hicks in the 8th inning. 88 pitches for Flaherty through 7.
Fly ball into shallow center. Marte won't get there. A late break, and it drops in.
An outfielder will go off of the swing and the sound, and he may have thought this was going to carry further. Got a late break and realized he couldn't catch up to it. You know, the Flaherty question with Hicks throwing, Dan, you and I chatted before the game, just wondering where the Cardinals might go as far as holding down innings for some of the young pitchers they have, because there's a number of young pitchers on this team, and that's always kind of an in vogue thing to do. What's the pitch limit or inning limit for Flaherty, for Hudson, for Ponce de Leon? And I don't know that that's an issue yet, but we may talk about that before it's over. And when you have an opportunity through 7 where Flaherty's breezed to maybe let him have a low pitch count game every once in a while, I think that may be why Mike Shildt is going to the bullpen quicker.
0-1 pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike on Yadier Molina. Doubled last time up. Just a feeling around this team that they're going to win. They're putting themselves in positions to win. They've had 5 losses here in this month. 4 of the 5 have been by 1 run. And I think out of those 4, 2 had the go-ahead and tying runs in scoring position. As you get a look at the wild card. And by the way, they're in the 7th. The Mets lead the Cubs 1-0. Cincinnati leading Milwaukee 9-6 in the 8th. And Philly was trailing in their ball game.
Talking about those losses the Cardinals had, only 1 bad loss in the month of August, and I mentioned that in the press conference show that we did this afternoon. That impressed me and maybe kind of put the last nail in the coffin for me that Mike Shildt should be the manager, because the Cardinals responded the day after that bad loss in Colorado and came up with 6 runs in the first inning on the next day. They didn't kind of roll over and go back to where they were. They kept moving forward, and to me that was, you know, it's like Jose Oquendo saying, I'm not worried about the first ground ball a player misses, I'm worried about the next ball hit to him, because that tells you what kind of player they are. Do you stay down? Everybody fails. It's a game of failure. So the Cardinals failed in that second game. Well, they didn't live in that failure in game 3 and took the series.
3-2 the count. Carpenter, your runner at first base. And a strikeout of Molina. So 1 out. And the batter is Jose Martinez, 2 for 3 tonight. 2-run homer hit back in inning number 1. Reaching for it and taps it foul to Jose Oquendo, who was at Albert Pujols' celebrity golf tournament yesterday. Some of the players out there. Honorary chairman was Carlos Martinez. One and one.
Hitting room in right center. That's a pretty big area in right center, and Martinez is known to hit the ball into that gap.
The 1-1. 2 balls and a strike. Very warm, muggy night here at the ballpark. The 2-1 pitch. 2-2. Cardinals have out hit the Pirates 8-4. They lead 4-1. It was a 2-run homer hit by Jose Martinez in the first. 2-run homer, Tyler O'Neill in the fourth. And Jack Flaherty has done his work on the mound. He's been very good. Martinez back in an everyday role this month and hitting .373 here in August. And he strikes out. Saturday, 30,000 fans 16 and older can look and feel like a pro in a home white embroidered jersey, courtesy of TD Ameritrade. This Saturday, Reds in town, Cardinals.com/promotions. Here's Tyler O'Neill with 2 outs.
You know, Dan, we were looking earlier at the tattoos of Brault, and the serious question, and of course O'Neill has his own. As I recall, there was a pitcher in the big leagues that had to remove one or had to have one changed because it was white, and there was a rule against a pitcher having a white tattoo on his arm. And my question is, are you aware what the full extent of the tattoo rules are, or is it just that?
I think anything white to deceive the hitter.
Right.
That's why you see sleeves or sometimes necklaces are asked to be removed.
You can't literally wear white sleeves.
Right.
I don't mean tattoo sleeves. I mean sleeves. You can't do that either because of the deception factor.
O'Neill strikes out, sends us to the 8th. Cardinals on top, 4-1. Is through. Jairo Munoz takes over in right field. Jordan Hicks. Our Chevy call to the pen, that familiar spot in the 8th, tied or leading. You'll see Jordan Hicks.
Been terrific this year. He's got the big fastball, but he's got a lot more than that. He's got a lot of moxie, I would say, as a reliever, and he acts like he belongs, and he has from day one. For a 21-year-old, that's impressive. Jairo Munoz on as part of the double switch. You saw him, 3-run lead up to Hicks and Norris to keep it that way.
There's Josh Bell, then Moran and Adeiny Echeverria. First pitch by Hicks. Fastball taken high.
Love that shot that we had of Flaherty talking with Gomber and other pitching. You know, it's the pitcher debrief. For 7 innings, you're talking to nobody. You're in your world, and then you come back out of the world and reconnect with the people who know the world that you were just in. I think really important to have that debrief. What was working? How did they react to it? How was the ball moving? How do you feel? What was the zone like?
The 2-0 pitch to Bell. 3-0. Pitch arsenal, nothing fancy. A fastball, triple digits, and a slider. I could be wrong about this, and I know you really pay attention to the pitchers, but I felt recently, and again, I could be wrong, but that Hicks is throwing his fastball even more recently.
Yeah, I think so. No, I think you're right. Percentage-wise.
Yes. And a leadoff walk. Not what you want to do with a 3-run lead here in the 8th inning. It brings in Colin Moran. Hicks a 1.56 ERA in his last 16 appearances. Crowd tonight 35,258. 35258. Cardinals have turned a double play tonight, and that's a ball. And Molina will use a mound visit here.
I think Hicks was trying to get some wisdom from Yadi. What are you seeing in that? Is it release point? Am I quitting on it? Am I not finishing? And all those things, 3 different things could be happening. And I think he was literally, and the catcher can see that often. And I think Hicks was really saying, in all honesty, there, hey, tell me what you're seeing. And that's, to me, that's a good sign that he's wanting to learn.
And a high chopper, and that's over Carpenter, who is playing in, and that'll bring the tying run to the plate. Runners at the corners now, and nobody out. And so it gets interesting now.
Yeah, so the extra stress of having a runner on base, this little ground ball becomes a hit because of where Carpenter's playing. As you mentioned, if he's back, that's a ground ball to first. That's all that is. But with the runner on, pressure mounts. More holes are open. And Dakota Hudson getting up.
So runners at first and third. Adeiny Echeverria at the plate. And a double play ball out there. The turn. Run scores to make it 4-2. The Cardinals will trade that for 2 outs.
I think that's the right decision. If you can get 2 outs with 1 pitch, look at that sinker. Oh my goodness, 101. And right there, Jerko's got to make that choice. Do I go home and get that out, or do I get 2? And yes, you give up a run, but certainly a bit of a rally killer. If you get 1 out at home, Dan, they don't score, but they still have the tying run at the plate.
And a guy that can pop one here in Josh Harrison. So 2 outs and nobody on. And a fastball low and outside at 103 on the gun. Used to hear the crowd moan and the oohs and the ahs when he'd hit 103 or above, and now it's just commonplace. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Taken high, and it's 2 balls and no strikes. Get asked all the time by opposing broadcasters and media, how are the Cardinals turning out arm after arm?
Exactly.
Had a rookie starter, rookie reliever, high leverage situation, rookie getting loose in the pen.
Credit starts with the scouts in my mind. And you know, that's Randy Flores' group and finding the right guys. And of course, even before Randy was here, but since he's been here, that hasn't changed. They've gotten good young pitchers with big arms. They found them.
3-0 and a walk.
But after you find them, you have to develop them.
That's Tim Levesque. That's Jason Isringhausen, Braden Looper.
And it's Gary LaRocque running that whole program. And Gary has a terrific leadership style. And he'll talk to all these young pitchers about what their next level needs to be and lays it out pretty clearly to them.
Tim Levesque, minor league pitching coordinator. 9 balls and 3 strikes. The 12 pitches so far for Hudson. The Cardinals, though, have a situation in their minor leagues where they're developing now position players, and they feel they are as well stocked as they've been in maybe 2 decades with position players.
Well, it's been a need, frankly. It has been a deficit, I would say, over the last 10 years. You know, you think about developing an Albert Pujols. Well, that's not going to happen, you know, once in a decade maybe. But to develop a player that's going to be a potential all-star who's a position player.
The one guy that was compared to Pujols was Oscar Taveras.
Right.
Now you have Nolan Gorman, who they drafted this year, up to 17 home runs. Has already made the jump to Peoria as an 18-year-old. They've got a Midwest All-Star and also league MVP in Montero. And a few others that are coming that they really like. So you're going to hear their names more probably next year. And then the year after that, you may see the impact of those position players coming through. Starling Marte representing the tying run at the plate. 0-2. All pitches have been 100 or above in this inning. Crowd comes alive, and an 0-2 pitch. Hicks to Marte. Slowly hit. Tough play here. No play. It's an infield hit on the 0-2. And the go-ahead run will come to the plate. Adam Frazier 0 for 3. 2 walks in the inning, 2 hits. And we've also seen the double play, and that's going to be it for Jordan Hicks as Mike Schilt will go to his bullpen and Dakota Hudson will come on. taken place between the two teams, and the Cardinals' last 9 games, they're 7-2. Pirates did have a walk-off earlier this year against St. Louis. Dakota Hudson into the ball game. Chevy called to the pen, appearance number 14. Roughed up over the weekend against Colorado. Really the first time we had seen that against this right-hander.
And Jordan Hicks is not out of this game because he's given up 2 hits, because one was a slow roller and one was a high chopper that just happened to find a hole. He's out because of the 2 walks. And I don't think they wanted to risk another walk in a tougher situation to bring Hudson in, give him a little breathing room.
Adam Frazier at the plate. Hudson, when he's appeared in a ball game, the Cardinals 12-1. Only entered with a deficit twice this season. But the Cardinals rely on guys like Hudson, Hicks, Norris when they're on top or tied. Another good sinker coming at you. More times than not from Hudson.
So before the bullpen was revamped, who would the Cardinals rely on in the 8th and the 9th? Hicks, Norris, period. Now there's another option. In fact, there's more options. Got Carlos.
Here's a 1-1 pitch. And it's pulled foul.
And my point about that would be, Dan, you can't win 3 days in a row if you're only going to rely on 2 relievers.
Right.
You have to have 4 or 5 guys you feel really good about. I think Chase and Shreve has gotten some big outs.
And the Cardinals have gone to looking for anybody to bridge that gap to get to Hicks and Norris, and they've got one here in Hudson, and as you mentioned, some of the others. 1 ball, 2 strikes as the crowd comes alive.
Throws such a hard sinker, doesn't he?
And the 1-2 put in play. Garcia flips to second, and the force. 4-2. Bottom of the 8th rolls in when we come back. Game 1 here against Pittsburgh. Plaza Tire Service replay and getting Frazier to reach. Everything down in the zone and got the ground ball. So good work by Dakota Hudson. Cal Crick is the new pitcher, 54th appearance. His first time in 16 appearances. Hicks did not go more than an inning. Josh Harrison stays in the ballgame at second base. But Norris begins to throw in the Cardinal pen. Phillies lose to Washington. Pinch runner Vince Velasquez left second base early on a fly ball to center. That was the second out. Holland gets the save. Cubs now tied 1-1 in the bottom of the 8th. And DeYoung hit by the pitch, and the leadoff batter is on. 6th time that he's been hit by a pitch. Now Jed Jerko is lined out, grounded out, and walked. Big gap in left center. 4-2 our score. And Jerko, first pitch swinging, pops it foul and out of play. Expecting really big crowds over the weekend. Reds will be here. Cardinals.com to get those tickets. Well over 40,000 expected each night. And the 0-1 pitch to the Cardinal third baseman. The Pirates will have Polanco, Cervelli, and Dickerson in the top of the 9th. The 1-1. At times we've seen where Mike Schilt, with an odd combination, will start with a hit and run or put runners in motion.
Part of the guessing game.
It's not always the fastest guys. 2-2. And Jerko hits it out to left field at the wall, and it's gone. It should be gone if it did hit the top of the wall and then come back. They're circling the bases as if it is a home run, and it is. Looked like it hit off the top. Then there's about 2 to 3 feet, a back wall of that, which can confuse many.
And they're still confused on the field. The Pirates not sure about it. And they're all waiting to see the replay together. And so is the Pirates dugout.
This is the one you'll be able to tell. I think that's only a double.
It is a double.
Yeah, my initial thought was that it hit the top, then off the central bank sign.
It would be interesting.
Which then would be a home run.
Well, it'd be interesting where they place the runners. I don't think this is going to be a home run. I think it's going to be a double.
You place the runners in second and third, I guess.
Well, could you say where's Jerko? I mean, where's Paul DeYoung when the ball hits off that wall? How far has he gotten around second? It'd be some nice insurance if that's called a home run, but I think it's coming back. One more look at it. That's the top of the wall. We've seen balls hit off there, then hit off the fence, as you say, behind it and come back into play. But that one just hit the wall and came back. Inches away from being an undisputed home run.
One thing I noticed was that Jed Jerko did not look comfortable out of the box You know, he's thinking that might be extra bases and a double. So they place him at second and third, which is what we thought. Take a look here. Watch Jed Jerko. Yeah, something not quite right. Uh-oh. And the Cardinals will have John Gant as the runner at second base.
Oh, boy. Calf, hamstring, who knows what that is. It kind of begs the question of whether or not he'd have made it to second base. If the call would have, if they'd have gotten the call right, where would he be?
Good point. So here's Harrison Bader, and the infield is drawn in. Cardinals trying to add to their 4-2 lead. Well, the Cardinals just recalled Patrick Wisdom with Colton Wong going on the DL, so Wisdom would, we would assume, take over at third. You could have Adams at first base, put Carpenter at third, but there's some different ways to play it if you're Mike Shildt. This type of at bat is what the Cardinals have been working hard on with Bader. Yes. Runner at third, less than 2 outs.
Hard contact.
And the 1-0.
This is where you can't strike out. Got to hit the ball hard somewhere. Infield's in, you should be a 350 hitter. Just so many lanes right now. So many extra opportunities.
The 2-0. There's a good slider. 2 balls and 1 strike. The outfield shading him into right field. The 2-1. Got a fastball that fouled it back at 97.
Speaking of 97, a hot day today. You wonder about the hydration question for a lot of players, cramps, etc. I hope that's all that is for Jed Jerko. I hope.
The 2-2. Mentioned this when we were at Pittsburgh, but I think Kyle Crick's got a little bit of a look of our colleague, one Brad Thompson.
He looks a little older than Brad Thompson.
A little bit, but everybody does.
But mechanic wise, I would agree with that.
The 2-2. Got him. Strikeout of Bader.
I don't remember Brad throwing 96, and that's what this was. Protection swing, not in time.
Greg Garcia. Matt Adams at the on-deck circle. They've used Brault. Vasquez is their closer, the 2 lefties that they have. Strike 1. And you know that Matt Adams, one way or another, is going to get a big round of applause wearing that Cardinal uniform first time back in St. Louis. Two strikes on Garcia.
Oh boy.
Budweiser plays in the game, and Jose Martinez got it started. 2-run homer. Tyler O'Neill added to it. And the Cardinals have a 4-2 lead. I see all these young guys contributing, and I'm trying to figure out how Memphis lost.
Ever.
Right.
Well, they didn't lose very often.
That's for sure. 1 ball and 2 strikes on Garcia. Up the middle and a base hit. 1 run is in. They'll hold up John Gant. And it's now a 5-2 Cardinal lead as Garcia provides some insurance. And it brings in Big City.
Number 15, Matt Adams.
Last homestand as he came through with the Nationals, he also got standing O's. And there's a ball. Now Adams searching a little bit. He is 0 for 5 as a Cardinal, 0 for his last 26.
And he struggled to get his timing after getting hurt. Trying to bunt.
Here's a 1-0.
But I love our fans, Danny. Oh my goodness, what a great round of applause for Adams, and you know he appreciates that. They don't miss a thing.
Two and 1 the count on Matt Adams. Two and 2. The 2-2. Adams puts it in play. Bell to the plate and the out. Runners at first and second now with 2 outs. The Cardinals leading by the score of 5-2. Certainly don't want to get your pitcher hurt. And that was Gant, your runner at third base.
Yeah, but he has to go on contact, and the ball's hit on the ground and not going to make it probably. Now you do force Bell to make a throw. That's not his best part of his game, as we mentioned, is his defense, but he was up to the challenge there. But you also keep them from thinking about a potential double play. And that's why you've got to go in that situation. You're trading the out for the possible 2.
MVP candidate Matt Carpenter. A couple of more hits tonight. Runs scored. 2 singles. Fly to center and grounded out to second. A shift on the right side of the infield. And ball 1. It's now a final. Cincinnati over Milwaukee 9-7. Here's a 1-0. A ball and a strike on Carpenter. Bud Norris just standing on the mound. In the Cardinal bullpen, Chasen Shreve has joined him.
Cardinals announcing that Jed Jerko left the game with left groin discomfort, and he's going to be reevaluated after the game and tomorrow.
1 ball and 2 strikes on Carpenter. And a swing and a miss. Cardinals add a run. Bud Norris to the mound. Try to finish it off when we come back. Two 6-0 for the Pirates. Bud Norris into the ball game. The Chevy call to the pen. And trying to pick up another save. He's got 27 this year. New third baseman is Patrick Wisdom in for Jed Jerko. I have concern right now. Certainly Jed Jerko leaving this ball game.
Oh boy.
Cardinals already missing Ozuna, Colton Wong, and potentially Jerko.
Ozuna taking some swings today, starting to do more baseball-related activity and test out the shoulder, and obviously love to have him back in the middle of the lineup and healthy. More than that.
And the first pitch is fouled back. He had an injection in the shoulder, so you got to let that.
Yeah.
The flaring settle down, and then you get back into some baseball-related activities.
4 or 5 days of nothing, and the nothing includes no throwing, no. I mean, you can stand at the back of the conga line in the dugout. That I believe is medically approved.
You can take the helmet off.
Take the helmet off, but that's as far as it goes.
And even then, be careful.
Oh yeah.
1 ball and 1 strike. Polanco 1 for 4 in his career against Bud Norris. Cardinals trying to pick up win number 74. Fastball right down the middle. Little chopper at left side. Wisdom right into the game. and makes a play. Phillips 66, what's left in the tank. National League save leaders Wade Davis, Kenley Jansen, Brad Boxberger of Arizona, then Bud Norris and Felipe Rivero both tied with 27. So 1 out, nobody on. And the batter is Francisco Cervelli. And apparently that did hit him. May have just gotten the jersey, so home plate umpire Tim Timmons immediately awarding Cervelli the bag at first.
Oh boy, just barely. Right call.
Yep.
He's been hit a few times, hasn't he? Obviously that one didn't hurt.
More times than not, it's his wrist or his hand that you think about with Cervelli. He's had issues with that being hit by a pitch. Here's Dickerson, 1 for 11 with 6 strikeouts against Bud Norris. 13th time that Cervelli's been hit by a pitch this year. Cardinals have turned 2 double plays, and a third would end this ball game. If the Cardinals can hold on, they go a game and a half in front of Milwaukee, Chicago, and New York. The Mets, they're tied 1-1. That's in the top of the 10th. The Phillies have lost. That would put the Phillies 3.5 out in the wild card. And a grounder, step on the bag for the out. How about a tag? Out! It's a double play, and the Cardinals take game 1 of the series by the final of 5-2. On a day that Mike Shildt sheds the interim tag, the Cardinals pick up the win, 5-2 over Pittsburgh.
Our key to the game was business as usual, and that's what it was here tonight at Busch Stadium. The Cardinals win the first game of the series. They're trying to win 10 straight if they can take the series against the Pirates here with a win tomorrow night. Terrific win for the Cardinals. Welcome home, Redbirds.
Another one off the schedule. Another win for Mike Shildt and the Cardinals. 5-2 the final Missouri Lottery. Cardinals Live, the postgame show next.